Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Turning Heel Podcast. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by my co host, Mike. Mike, how are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Another great week of pro wrestling. I love the conversations that we have before we go on and we start talking basically about what we're going to discuss. And sometimes it's almost like a show within a show.
Almost, yes.
And I loved the conversation we were having about Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, and it looks like we're finally going to see it as CM Punk has been officially cleared and announced that he's cleared. You know, I think he was probably cleared before then. But...
Right. Now, he said Saturday he got cleared.
Okay.
So I'm ready for that match. And
yes.
And having Seth Rollins added in as the referee,
I love that.
I think this is building to a WrestleMania triple threat for the world title.
I agree, and I think it could be a great match. A match that will be very hard to call. It'll be very hard for us to predict.
Yes,
because any one of those three are viable world heavyweight champions, and very believable to leave WrestleMania as world champions.
Yes.
Now, one of the matches I want to see, I saw something teased about the idea that CM Punk has been talking to a certain, well, rather important female in his life about the idea of coming back to wrestling. And, you know, Seth Rollins has a wife who's kind of a big deal in the world of pro wrestling.
Kind of, yeah.
Walk with me out here on this limb. Imagine, maybe not a WrestleMania, but a Backlash, maybe as a subplot to the whole idea of Rollins and Punk and their rivalry. Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, mixed tag, CM Punk, AJ Lee.
I mean, they could do it.
That'd be pretty sweet, right?
Yeah. But it seems like WWE hasn't been doing mixed tags.
No, the last one I think they did was they did Ray and Zelina versus Dominic and Liv.
Yeah. So maybe they will. I
always got to be real careful when doing those because I know you don't want to have male on female physicality written.
Right. Yeah.
Leave jokes out of it, but yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, I could see them perhaps doing that. I don't know. I don't know how AJ would be going back into the ring.
Well, I like the idea of at least starting with a mixed tag as a way to, get her feet wet before you put her right into a match with Becky Lynch.
Right. Yeah, that could definitely work.
Yeah, I love that idea. Like when I saw that was immediately the first idea that popped into my head was, well, we got to get Becky Lynch back then. And I still think part of this is Becky Lynch I'm sure they were having a contract dispute. I wouldn't be surprised if she has agreed to terms and as part of the condition was just let her have some time off with her kid before she comes back to work.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think she just wants a little bit of time off. Who can blame her? And then I'm sure she'll be back. Probably around Survivor Series, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And do you think we're going to see Seth Rollins back in the ring on a regular basis? Because it certainly seemed like he needed time off after WrestleMania.
Right.
Probably to heal his knee and his back, which I know the back was more of a storyline thing, but like you could tell it's kind of real too.
Yeah. Yeah, when something's in pain, you could tell.
Yeah. And the thing is, his work didn't slip, and like God bless him, he did great.
And
Yeah,
And
but he could compete
I
in
think
WrestleMania weekend.
I think he's going to be more of a part-time type guy. I think he might wrestle a PLE and maybe every other Raw or maybe every 3 Raws. But I think he'll still be on to do the promos to get people fired up. I don't think he's going to go away for long bouts of time like a Lesnar or like a Roman, where
Oh no, I don't think Seth would ever let himself have that kind of schedule.
no, I don't think so.
Even if WWE would agree to it.
Right.
I did want to, while we're talking about guys' schedules, I wanted to touch on this again. We've been talking about Bryan Danielson, who is, set to main event Wembley Stadium at All In with Swerve. And I don't know if you watched Blood and Guts.
I did not yet.
Okay. So then I won't spoil anything for you.
I know Team AEW won.
Okay. Yeah, basically because they were going to set Jack Perry on fire. And, yeah. And he was handcuffed. It was a la Tommy Dreamer and Raven in a cage, if you remember from, what was that, 95? When Raven was headed, he was pinned up against the cage, and they're wailing on him, and man, they were taking unprotected chair shots like it was 1995, and not a big fan of that. Just we know a lot more about concussions than we did then, and it seemed like a lot of work to just build to. We're going to get Darby Allin versus Jack Perry for the TNT Championship at All In. Because basically at the end of the match, like, when they're confirming the surrender, Darby goes, oh, do I have this match? If I don't get it, I'm going to set him on fire. It's like, hey, look, we know you're not going to actually set the guy on fire. And of course, whichever Jackson it was just like leading with him and saying, no, you can have the match. You can have the match.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. And but that was immediately what I thought. I'm like, so we basically just had a blood and guts match, like one of the coolest matches that they have, like basically old school war games. And you just did it to set up a TNT championship match.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm speechless at this moment. I will watch it.
Oh, it's certainly worth a watch.
And this might be the nail in the coffin for AEW for me. Based upon it all. Especially after this weekend. I have a hard time them building up for a TNT title match. Granted, they have the TV deal. However, the true wrestling alternative to WWE right now is TNA.
Yeah.
And after Slamaversary on Saturday, I watched. We went down to the shore, but I was on my phone. Mm-hmm. I was able to catch live Jordan Grace defeat Ash by Elegance. This actually, I was able to catch live the X Division match, the knockout match, and the 6-way match.
Yeah.
All 3 matches, phenomenal storytelling. From Earl Hebner coming out in Montreal and giving Mike Bailey the X Division title.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Was phenomenal. Jordan Grace, yet again, cannot say enough good things about her in-ring work.
She is everything that's right about women's wrestling today.
She really is. Her match with Ash was, again, a quality match that you could say, hey, this was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 6-way elimination match at the end was just phenomenal storytelling of Moose being the second man eliminated in the match.
So you knew right off the bat we were getting a new champ.
Right. I was trying to remember who was eliminated first. Steve Macklin won out first.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which kind of makes sense.
Sure.
Then Joe Hendry pins Moose.
Yeah.
And the crowd goes nuts. And it's just like, can we say it? Can we say it? But then one of the most despicable heel turns ever happened. As Josh Alexander kicks Joe Hendry in the balls and then hits his finisher and pins Joe Hendry, and it went deafening silent. Like, everyone was just like, what happened? And then Nick Namath comes in, wrestles Alexander, pins him, and then Kazarian, who took a wicked stage dive off a table from Namath earlier in the match when all six were brawling out on the stage, comes back in, and they're continuing their story that they've been telling, and it's just like, well, either one could win this. And then when Nick won it, it was his brother came out, they celebrated, and then something that I haven't seen in a long time, since WrestleMania, you had a post-ring celebration, but it was different because it was just the champions were out. And they were saying, like, these are our people. First, it was Jordan Grace came out. Then ABC, who just won the tag titles, and PCO, who just won that night. Everyone came out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, very cool moment. Like you said, the true alternative to WWE.
Right, because they do good storytelling, and they don't. AEW, I don't know what to say anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like beating a dead horse because I like a lot of the guys there, a lot of the workers there. I love those guys.
Yeah.
Like there was a time where I really believed, and I want to say it was like 2017, 2018, where I really believed the best tag team in the world was the Young Bucks.
Okay.
And, they're wrestling in New Japan. I loved their work there, whether it be as the light heavyweight tag team champions or the heavyweight tag champions. They just, any division, any ring they win in, man, if they weren't the epitome of what Ronda Rousey always used to say, I own every ring I step in. They looked like, man, they owned every ring they stepped in.
Yeah.
And to see how far they've fallen. And look, I don't even necessarily hate the EVP character idea and the concept that they came up with.
Right.
And the snotty, like, I chuckle at a lot of, like, the little, like, oh, great show, guys. Great show. Yeah. Like, right. I absolutely, like, I love some of that. Like, actually, a lot of their stick work, I think, is really clever. And,
it is.
But even their spots in the ring, they look sloppy. They look old. They look like they've aged in dog years in the last 3 years. And maybe it's the stress and the pressures of running a company and having to work almost every week. Right. And, basically everything now, like it started off the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and Kenny Omega coming together. Like they were the wrestlers involved, and they had Tony Khan there, who was basically signing checks and letting those guys book all the action. And now, Kenny Omega's out, Cody Rhodes is left, and it's basically just the Young Bucks are running things.
Well, and Tony Khan, one of his closest people is Jericho, who's been there since the beginning. So Jericho's got a lot of feedback, and
sure. And by the way, Chris Jericho, the way he keeps reinventing himself, that man is a beautiful, beautiful man. He will be retired for 10 years before a lot of people realize how truly amazing he was.
Right. And I think with him, it's just kind of like he's doing well for himself, but I think he's trying to use some influence sometimes. Maybe I don't know, but I'm thinking maybe he's trying to like relive the Attitude Era a little bit with some of the ridiculousness that they've been doing. And let's face it, the fans from the Attitude Era have grown up.
Yep. I'm not an 18-year-old kid anymore.
Yeah. We've all grown up.
Huh. I mean, I've grown out. I've just gotten fatter. I haven't really necessarily matured, but
like, is there really joy in seeing someone try to light someone on fire in a wrestling ring anymore?
No,
it's past that.
Well, to me, it's like when the violence makes sense, like it works. But like, when we were watching, what was the match? It was at All In last year. When Moxley had those
match. Yeah, we had to send the kids outside.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, when we're having to send the kids outside, like, no, this isn't family entertainment anymore.
No, and I know they're rated TV 14.
Sure.
And I know they want to be a bit edgier, but it's like, okay, you
call some people an asshole, so you have I'm okay with some blood. Like, if it makes sense.
If it makes sense, yes. Old school type. Tully Blanchard, Magnum TA, Quit Match Blood makes sense.
Bret Hart Stone Cold at 13.
Makes sense.
That made sense.
I'll give him credit. The Swerve Strickland Adam Page death match made sense.
Sure.
Because they were really telling that story. And
wait till you see how Hangman behaves in this match.
I can't wait. But it's just like, okay, you guys want to be edgier, you guys want to be this, you want to be that. Tell me why I have to buy my son AEW figures.
Yeah.
So if you want to be edgier and you want to be out there,
then don't gear your stuff towards kids.
Then why are you selling action figures? I know there's a lot of adult collectors of action figures, like myself and all.
Sure.
Let's face it, that's something more geared towards kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially when you have them at your Walmarts and your Targets and they're in the toy aisles.
Yeah. Like if I want to go to Walmart or Target or like I said, anywhere, and I want to find a nice collector's item wrestling action figure, I'm going to the toy section, which really looks great as a 43-year-old, almost 44-year-old adult male without kids going to the toy section.
See, I got my minion with me all the time. So.
Yeah, see, that's smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is smart.
Yeah, we still got to look for the big SummerSlam displays at the stores. We won a couple weeks ago. They weren't out yet.
Okay. They should be out. I can't believe am I the only one who feels like SummerSlam is going to sneak up on us again? Like, I hate that, like, it's at the beginning of August. Well, a couple of years ago, it was the end of July.
It was July 31st a couple years ago. I enjoyed being in the beginning of August because then we get the bash in Berlin on August 31st.
Well, yeah,
So
I like that.
I enjoy having two big PLEs in August. Uh, I think this year's timing, though, of SummerSlam is piss poor
Mm-hmm.
because we also have this thing going on called the Olympic Games that begin on Friday, and they're going to be rolling in, and we have to watch Raw and SmackDown on Sci-Fi the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. There's also another big event happening near Cleveland, SummerSlam weekend. And the NFL Hall of Fame, which is in Canton, about an hour and a half or so from Cleveland. So you're talking about like the Cleveland area. Like I imagine like if people were trying to go to the Hall of Fame, staying in Cleveland and taking that trek out to Canton, like that makes a lot of sense, especially like if you have the idea of, hey, I'll stay in Cleveland, I'll go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then I'll go over to, which by the way, I did a bus tour. We did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the NFL Hall of Fame in the same day.
Nice.
Yeah, which I mean, because they're close enough that you can do that.
Right.
But man, that makes it like so. The Hall of Fame game is Thursday night.
Right.
And then Saturday is the induction ceremony for the NFL Hall of Fame.
Right.
And Saturday is also SummerSlam.
Yeah.
That puts a lot of traffic. This was a lot of people right there in Cleveland.
Yeah. And I think maybe they did that purposely so they could get some extra traffic.
I wonder if there's going to be some NFL guys who they basically say, hey, guys, you know, you're big wrestling fans. Come hang out at SummerSlam after you go to the Hall of Fame ceremonies during the day. Take that hour drive out to Cleveland and come hang out for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, because who's playing in the Hall of Fame game?
Oh, God, I don't even know. And I'm a hardcore football fan, and I don't even know.
I'm stunned right now.
I hate the Hall of Fame game. Like, I actually really hate it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be fired up. I'm going to be juiced up as anything for it because it's football.
Right.
But there's going to come a point, and it's about 5 minutes into the game, where I'm going to be watching the TV, and they're going to be on their third or fourth punt because nobody plays, and it's sloppy as hell. And I'm going to be like, you know what? I have a wonderful wife. I've got a ton of family that love me. Why am I subjecting myself to this crap?
It's the Bears and the Texans. I just looked it up.
Okay.
Because, like, I could see if it was the Niners, you know, they'd be getting George Kittles to sit there.
Oh, well, George Kittle is probably going to be at the like. I'm sure he's going to be at the Hall of Fame ceremony because now he's starting to be at the age where, like, some of these guys, like, they're guys that he played with that are now going into the Hall of Fame.
Right. But yeah, like, I can see some crossover potential there.
Yeah.
And then
that would have been great though. George Kittle, if you watch the show Wide Receiver on Netflix, George Kittle has now become one of my favorite football players that are non-Eagles, like, in the world. That guy is just hilarious.
I haven't watched it yet. Really, it seems like between work and then with the kids and then wrestling, it's like I don't have much else to watch right now.
I love this. This is a great comment. Thanks a lot, David. What you gonna do when Eric Mania runs wild? Yes, sir. Always fly, Eagles.
Lord help us if Eric Mania runs wild on us.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But no, I
don't
think
worry, there'll be a secret, kick to the balls or something.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a heel. I'm a
Well, you're so
kid,
small, you can
man.
just punch most people's.
Well, yeah, I could probably uppercut some.
Yeah, you can just uppercut and boom, there you go. That's what you
Yeah, I
can
don't
do.
have to do the China thing and go to a knee. I can just bam.
You can just go boom. But
David, I'm actually curious who this would be then. The only player that he likes that's not an Eagle is a retired player. I guess I get it. Okay. It's a joke. I understand. I'm a little slow on the uptake here.
it happens. It happens. No, but yeah, it's just it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do that whole weekend in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Because another thing, it's this is I feel bad for them because the card's getting booked already. DIY,
Yeah.
it's Johnny Gargano's home city. He's going to be on SmackDown instead of SummerSlam.
I know. They should have a tag team title defense on SummerSlam.
But we're going to get that
I know.
that match on SmackDown. Because what is it? It's going to be
probably against the.
It's going to be the winner.
Who is it again? Oh,
the gauntlet match that they're having Friday night.
Yeah,
and that's another thing that makes no sense. You're having a 16 gauntlet match, and one of the 16 is going to be Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. Wouldn't you put Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa together?
Tonga Loa, yeah.
Consider they've been a tag team for a long time and they're brothers. Instead of putting
the Gorillas of Destiny.
But I'm wondering if somehow Fatu's going to get him disqualified. They don't want to make Gorillas of Destiny look bad because eventually they've got to win the tag titles. That's where they're going.
Exactly. And I want the Gorillas of Destiny versus the Usos at WrestleMania.
I think we're going to get it.
All right. I'll be very excited for that match.
All right.
And I do think David's right. We're getting Roman Reigns' return at SummerSlam.
I think so.
He comes out and costs Solo Sikoa, or maybe even he doesn't cost Solo the match. At the end, Cody wins, and maybe there's a brawl at the end, and Roman comes out, and you assume Roman's coming out to gang up on Cody, but instead he nails Solo.
Right.
And
yeah,
maybe there's an acknowledgement, as Roman and Solo are fighting, or maybe Roman throws Solo out of the ring, and there's a moment where Roman just looks over at Cody and gives him a nod. I kind of want that acknowledgement, the show of respect between the two since they've done battle before.
Here's my thing is who's going to turn out of this new bloodline?
I wonder if Hikuleo is going to actually join Roman and the Usos.
I'm wondering because that way it'd be 4-on-4. The Rock comes in, and then they've kind of planted the seed for Sami Zayn.
I would love to see it.
But there's also other people who I think might have an F5 return to come back. So, especially if you attack his advocate, I mean, he's a little pissed off.
Sure.
Right. So,
but is he still persona non grata in WWE?
I don't think so because they've mentioned him in press conferences.
Yeah, you're right.
People have asked Triple H and he said Brock's just doing Brock things. I think the door's open for him to come back.
Well, I mean, that'd be pretty cool. But I still think what I'd love to see is Brock as a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble.
Right, yeah.
And I kind of want also at the Royal Rumble at some point, because obviously Roman and The Rock are going to be on opposite sides in the War Games match.
If they go that route.
Yeah, if they go that route. Well, because in my mind, that's where they're going. And then at the Royal Rumble, I want The Rock to come out at a certain point, Roman to come out as the next entrant, and basically Rock and Roman eliminate each other. Right. That sets up WrestleMania.
And we start going.
And we have the head of the table match. Bloodline rules, Roman versus The Rock.
Right.
For the head of the table. And that, I would assume, headlines at least one of the nights, if not night one.
Right.
I mean, if not night two, then definitely night one.
I would say so. I would say they're going to let that headline. And then it really depends upon where the other titles are for the other headline.
So I'm going to bounce an idea off of you. And actually more than once, I've said that if a certain record were to be broken, it had to be at WrestleMania. So how about the idea? And again, just throwing it out there. John Cena wins the Royal Rumble in his retirement tour. John Cena, Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. And John Cena breaks the record by beating Cody Rhodes.
I don't think it gets much bigger than that.
Right? I mean, talk about two incredible headline nights of WrestleMania. Right. You'd have Roman versus The Rock, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes.
And I think that's very possible. I don't see why they wouldn't do that. And then you throw in the Rollins Punk McIntyre.
Sure.
That could open up a night.
Yeah, that could open up WrestleMania, the first night.
Right.
Because you always want to start with a huge match. And
this year they did with Rhea and Becky. They had a big match. But yeah, that I think would be a 3 matches right there that you can interchange as the opener and the 2 headliners.
Yeah, I agree.
And now that Ric Flair's at AEW, he'll be there.
Yeah. Hey, look, and talk about a great moment that would be. John Cena wins to break Ric Flair's record, not just tie it. And maybe Ric Flair awards the championship to John Cena.
I could see that happening. Because Flair said he wants it broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and I get why Triple H didn't want himself to break it.
Yeah.
Because, again, it was out of the love for Rick. And kudos. No issue with that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I think John Cena deserves it. He's definitely done so much for this industry.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't, okay, he's not a spot monkey. He doesn't have 5 million moves in his arsenal. But the guy tells an unbelievable story.
Every time he's in that ring.
Yeah.
They don't do Big Match Johnny for nothing.
He grabs you by the heartstrings and takes you on a ride that is unlike anything I've ever seen anybody do.
Yeah.
I know, look, as a kid, I didn't get Hulk Hogan. I wasn't a Hulkamaniac. I was a fan of the bad guys. I liked Piper and I liked the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Those are my 2 favorites as a kid.
Right.
But I understood a lot of people liked Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
To me, John Cena blows Hulk Hogan away.
Yeah.
As far as just everything he's done for this industry. Between the Make-A-Wish thing, nobody's granted more wishes. Nobody.
No one's even close.
No. The person in second is closer to 5th than they are to 1st.
Exactly. Yeah. No one has done so much good publicity, especially for WWE, than John Cena.
And for the longest time, didn't want anything like he didn't like it when they started talking about how many wishes he granted.
Right.
Like he really was adamant he didn't want it publicized at all.
No. And that just tells you
Yeah.
great of a person he is. So you know what? Give him the 17th and do it at Mania.
Yes, I agree. Let it happen. I am all for John Cena's 17th. I can't wait for the first Raw on Netflix. I'm curious as to what that's going to look like.
I'm curious for that as well. And then
I'm assuming it'll be live at 8 or whatever time. Like, and
I'm assuming it's still going to be live.
And I'll be able to just go on Netflix and just hit that and either go live or like, so if say it's at 8:00 and at 8:30, I'm scrambling and I'm just, getting in front of my television and I want to say, okay, I want to watch some Monday Night Raw. I want to start from the beginning. I'm assuming I'll be able to.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna have to do something to explain how all that's gonna work.
Well, I'm sure they will. And I'm wondering how they're going to progress into such a change.
Yeah.
I mean, because this is kind of, I think, the guinea pig for sports.
Well, yeah, and like the NFL's been on Amazon Prime.
Right. I know the NFL's been on Amazon, but
yeah,
it's only one game a week. Where this is one of your flagship shows going to Netflix.
Right. Well, would be like if Netflix got Monday Night Football.
Right. And it's also, to me, kind of like this NBA going to Prime TV deal where they're taking it completely off of TNT. So
Prime is on Prime TV. Is that Amazon Prime as well? Or is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just not up on a lot of the lingo. I'm an old guy.
Right.
Am I going to be able to use the clicker and just find the channel?
Yes, you will. Hopefully. Well, you have YouTube TV, so yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I have YouTube TV. I'll be fine.
You'll use the clicker.
Yeah. Yes. Which I didn't realize how easy it was on YouTube TV to like basically go back and forth between regular YouTube and YouTube TV. It is fantastic. It is dangerous. I found myself watching all these videos and all these things like about WWE on there. One day I woke up and my back was so sore I couldn't move. And like when I called out of work, and so I spent the day in front of the TV watching YouTube and watching all these videos on. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah, Sean is a YouTube head. He's addicted to Minecraft videos, these stupid YouTubers. It's just what's ever happened to the old school TV?
It's gone, man.
It really is.
I'm telling you, it's not going to be long until like Comcast and Verizon basically just have to succumb to the fact that they can't charge people $300 a month for their crap television anymore.
Exactly.
When
that happens.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like if they were to ever get with the program and just say, hey, you know what? We can offer you the television that YouTube can. You need our internet anyway. Why not just streamline it one bill to us? And it's going to be the same price that you would pay for YouTube. And I would get cable hooked back up.
All right. I think it makes sense. But see, like the old dinosaurs, like my parents who are in their 80s, they really need the TV because they're.
It's so funny. My stepmother, she's 74 years old. She is way more in touch with technology than I am. Like she has to help me with technology so that I know what I'm doing.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
I was going to say, you've met me. So you've seen me yell at my phone.
I have. I have on more than one occasion.
You've seen me have like basically a 5-year-old temper tantrum with my cell phone.
Yes.
To the point where I'm sure your children are watching, like, oh man, is this what we look like?
Mhm. And then you got Sean. I'll help you out.
Yeah, thankfully I got Sean to save me.
Exactly.
God bless the kids. See, nobody ever explained this to me. That's why you have kids, so they can explain technology to you.
Well, see, that's one of the benefits of parenting.
And my dad my dad always used to tell me, he's like, I knew there was a reason I had kids, so you could tell me what an idiot I am.
Exactly.
And I reminded him that all the time.
Exactly.
Okay, so we went down a rabbit hole there. So let's circle back here.
Okay.
Obviously, one subject that I'm gonna have to talk about tonight, and I've
Oh.
managed to go 44 minutes into the show without talking about it.
Hold on. Yeah, Stevie, you see this coming? Yeah, I do too. Stevie Wonder sees this coming,
So, okay, we obviously know we're getting Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship.
We know that.
And so you know what's coming. Now with the whole Rhea Ripley, which, by the way, Jesus, God in heaven, what is she doing up there in that crowd, circling around, talking to her? First of all, she's nuts thinking that, that Rhea Ripley isn't gorgeous too, but different kind of gorgeous, but also gorgeous.
Right.
But when she goes, hot men like Dominic Mysterio, which made me throw up a little bit, they don't go for girls that look like Rhea Ripley. They go for girls that look like Liv Morgan. And I'm just like, Jesus. First of all, if those shorts were any shorter, they'd be a collar.
They would be. They really would be.
And then her little breakdown when Dominic Mysterio freaking yells finally does what he should have done 2 months ago.
In the beginning, he should have just yelled at her, but we're dragging this out.
Yeah, I mean, you had to, give Rhea Ripley time to recover from her injury, and
right,
yeah, and also give me, constant laughter and entertainment,
and give you something to talk about every week.
Yeah, God bless them. So I appreciate them doing that.
Yes, they really have.
This is so clear. Dominic Mysterio is turning on Rhea Ripley.
I don't know.
You don't? Because I think it's clear. Well, and maybe that's why it won't happen, is because it's so clear as day.
It's kind of like last week when we all predicted Joe Hendry's going to win the TNA title.
I have a theory behind that one, too. He's coming to NXT.
Right. So we all think, okay, he's the hottest thing in wrestling. He's going to win the title. But no.
Put the strap on him and rocket ship him to the moon. Yeah.
No, they pull the wool over our eyes. I think it's not going to be Dom who's going to help Liv. If anyone helps Liv, it's going to be the Irish duo of Finn and JD. And I think that's when, we talked about the bloodline imploding.
Mm-hmm.
We're also going to have an implosion of the Judgment Day. And I think what you need to do to keep it, you really have to keep Dom with Rhea in this circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
And Damien. And then you
three of them on the side, and then
JD and Liv on the other side. And then this way, it kind of makes sense because, let's face it, the Raw Women's division right now is like a cheap New Japan stable fest.
Yeah.
So it can be this way. Rhea's in a stable, Liv's in a stable, and then all the other girls are partnered up with someone else at this point.
Yeah, and so they can have their tag team moments, and
There really isn't a single star on the Raw women's roster right now.
No.
No, because you have Damage Control.
Mm-hmm.
You have Alba Fire and Isla Dawn as the tag champs, which makes good sense.
Yes.
Then you have Lia Valkyria with Carter and Chance.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got the DeVille, Baszler, Stark team. So,
yeah. I mean, look, you're not wrong. Now, in that scenario, and I'll do you one better. I think the person that could pull the trigger on this turn and the breaking up of the Judgment Day, Carlito.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
He's been the one. He was the guy who came in from the outside.
Yeah.
And, say Carlito gets Finn and JD to join up with him, take out,
Take out
Rhea and help Liv win. And at the end of it, Damian Priest, like they're asking what's he doing, what side is he on, and basically Dominic Mysterio looks like he's about to get ganged up on by Finn, Carlito and JD, and out comes Damian Priest to save Dominic Mysterio.
Right.
You could have like a nice little 3-on-2 handicap match on Raw.
You could, and I think maybe they can't do this at SummerSlam because you also got Damian against
Luther. So
that
would be for the next week on Raw.
Right. I think that would be the next thing on Raw. So
yeah, that could be interesting. I could get behind that. But to me, and again, this all though still results. Liv Morgan still your women's world champion after SummerSlam.
I really hope not. I really
hope so.
I know you hope so. You see, you know what I think is they're talking about the women's Intercontinental and women's US championships. I think that's when you realize, okay, there is a level in pro wrestling.
Sure.
And Liv is not your world heavyweight champion level. She's your Intercontinental champion level.
See, again, and this has nothing to do with the obvious that I think Liv Morgan's beautiful. Okay. That has nothing to do with that. I think she's extremely talented in the ring, and she has shown her ability on the mic and her acting skills. She has the ability to take people on an emotional ride. No pun intended. Right. But and so I think she is world championship material. Now, her moveset, she's got to get crisper in the moveset. And, I know that could be a knock on her ability, to be a world champion. Whereas Rhea Ripley is there. Like, she is at her peak. And I want to see at some point, I want to see Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez. I want to see Charlotte and Roxanne Perez.
Correct. See, I was just going to say, you look at NXT, Roxanne is a main champion.
Absolutely.
You look at SmackDown, Bayley is a main champion.
Sure.
You look at TNA, Jordynne Grace is a main champion.
Sure. And so if you take the 3 women's champions of WWE and the women and the Knockouts champion, Jordynne Grace, you put them in a fatal 4-way elimination match, even I have to say Liv Morgan's getting eliminated first.
Yeah.
And I'm the biggest Liv Morgan proponent there is.
That I know.
Almost to an uncomfortable level. But I do agree, Liv Morgan's definitely the 4th best out of those 4.
Right.
But I believe she belongs in that conversation.
And you know what? Even though I don't really follow as much, Toni Storm, you can even put in a 5-way match.
Ooh. Well, you know what they say: chin up, tits out, and watch out for the shoe.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's just good advice at anything.
It really is. It really is.
Although at work, when I do the tits, they send me to the office, and it's not a good thing.
No, it's
Talk
not.
to a manager, and
All that stuff. Yeah.
they have to tell me, Eric, nobody wants to see your man titties. Put them away.
Put your man tits away, please.
Yeah.
All right.
And now anybody who watches this video live or later will now just have that vision of Eric's pulling out his man boobs at work.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But hey, they always have to remember though at the end, watch out for the shoe.
Exactly. Now, I also did see with AEW that Camille Brickhouse came there.
Yeah.
Last night. Yeah. That's another one. Like, seriously, you could have went to NXT and maybe done something, but
yeah,
now you're into the.
So the one, God, I'm gonna feel like such a knob for not knowing this girl's name right off the top of my head. The one that just signed with NXT, they're making a big deal about.
Stephanie Vaskar.
Yeah. Stephanie Vaskar. Like, have you watched any of her stuff anywhere else?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I haven't.
She is a very highly skilled professional wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And she's made the right decision, I think.
Where she worked before?
CMLL.
Any of the places?
Mexico. CMLL. CMLL, and then she did some New Japan Strong shows. Because she was the New Japan Strong Women's Champion.
Okay.
So she's been working with those two companies. And now she gets to shine in the big leagues.
Yeah, I'm really happy for her.
Yeah.
That's a good deal for her.
Yeah, so I'm wondering how quickly they pull the trigger on her against Roxanne, or do they let it build for a little bit?
I'll tell you what I'm really hoping, and this is very selfishly what I'm hoping, is Roxanne Perez and her at Halloween Havoc. And the reason why I say selfishly, Halloween Havoc is going to be in Hershey, Pennsylvania. It's something we've discussed. And like I said, I already looked at the Eagles schedule. The Eagles play the Bengals. I probably will be useless to everybody until right before match time, right before the show starts, because I'll be watching the Eagles game on my phone. But But yeah, I think that could be a fun weekend. Yeah, I got to sell the wife on that idea. But
yeah, I think that that could vary, because I'm wondering if they're going to pull it at No Mercy to rush it, or do they let it simmer a little bit?
Yeah, I'm hoping they let it simmer and they go to Halloween Havoc.
Right. Or did they really let it simmer and stretch it out to stand and deliver? But I don't know if they could do that, considering Roxanne's already called her out on an interview.
Yeah, I would have to believe that it's going to be at either No Mercy or Halloween Havoc.
Yeah. I don't.
But probably No Mercy. We could get a return match at Halloween Havoc.
You could,
as like a send off before Roxanne goes up to the big show.
Right.
Do you think? I mean, obviously Roxanne was in the Royal Rumble. I would have to believe that if she doesn't go up to the main roster after the Royal Rumble this coming year, like at the very latest, I would have to believe next year's draft if they have one. I don't know what the plan is with the whole Netflix, and
I definitely see her coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, who did they draft up this year? Oh God,
Lyra Valkyria
and Kiana James was
Kiana James, yeah.
So yeah, I definitely see Roxanne. She's gonna by that point she will have cemented that division down long enough for other girls to be ready to take the title. Whether it's Stephanie, whether it's Corey Jade coming back from injury.
Yeah, I really hope. Like, man, she's been out a while. She tore her ACL, right?
Yeah. Or even coming up the ranks. Someone who impresses me more and more every time I see her is Sol Ruka.
Yes, I agree. And
Every match,
Kalani Jordan to
and
me.
Connie
Yeah.
Jordan, exactly. Every
Mhm.
match, it's a building block. Every match is getting more and more entertaining to watch them. And as a fan, that's when you say, hey, this one's going to be good. Let's keep our eyes out. And both of them,
Mhm.
young, talented, um, absolutely amazing athleticism in both of them. And I think that they are going to be groomed for the main title in the next year or two in NXT.
I agree. Real quick, I had this idea of something I wanted to talk about with you on the show, and I know I've waited till 59 minutes in to bring it up. But with the idea with this crossover between NXT and TNA, it's really made me believe that some of this is like a tryout for some of the TNA guys to see, how they would work on NXT.
There, over there.
And I gotta believe that WWE wants to purchase the contracts of both the other two rascals, Wentz and Trey Miguel.
Right.
And I gotta believe they want to purchase Joe Hendry. Like
I,
they want him to be exclusive WWE. I gotta believe.
I think so. And I
And
think
I'm sure there's going to be a conversation where Triple H is going to sit down with the powers that be at TNA and say, okay, what's it going to take?
right.
And I mean, whether it be spotlighting, another TNA talent on a WWE show, um, hell, maybe even letting them get like they could have the North American Championship be won by somebody from TNA.
Right.
Just to give that rub to TNA.
Yeah, I think they definitely could do that. I think it would make a lot of sense for that
Mm-hmm.
to happen at this point. I I don't know if they're going to outright buy Joe Hendry's contract. I know they probably want to, but
Sure.
I don't know if TNA wants to give that up.
And I can't imagine they would. But like if it's one of those things where WWE says, hey, look, man, like if need be, we can wait another year or however long Joe Hendry's contract is, and we can sign him. We could tell him to be a disruptive prick in your locker room and make you fire him, and then we sign him and you guys get nothing.
Right.
Or you can let us do something for you.
Right. And I think that it's going to be one of those things that which it's a building block, this relationship.
Yeah. Well, like WWE could build they could put a big advertisement for Bound for Glory on WWE show. They could put it on Monday Night Raw. They could put it on SmackDown and run a commercial Bound for Glory, whatever weekend that is.
And I think they might this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because speaking of TNA WWE crossing over back and forth, how would it be for this year, the TNA Hall of Fame, AJ Styles goes in?
Yeah, that makes sense. He belongs in their Hall of Fame.
With everything that has happened with this relationship, I think that will happen this year. And
Yeah.
I think that Joe Hendry might be, because he's such a big star,
Mm-hmm.
surprise me if he's on both NXT and TNA every other week. One on one episode.
Yeah, 1 week he's on TNA, 1 week he's on the next week he's on NXT. So, yeah,
that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know. And then I think the Rascals will probably end up eventually, even though Nash Carter or Wentz was there. I think there's always forgiveness in the world of wrestling.
Yeah, they just had to make him go away for a while, and apparently that whole picture thing was like a prank that he did, and the ex-girlfriend got pissed at him when they broke up, and so she leaked the picture.
Right. So
and got him fired.
Exactly. Those ex-girlfriends.
Yeah, you never want you never want to leave any. Of course, you never want to have any kind of pictures like that. Did you know that? What was the guy's name? He was. I keep wanting to say, Ludwig Kaiser's still there. Heidenreich. The guy from like '94 was the guy who pinned Tatanka.
Ludwig Borga.
Yes, Ludwig Borga. I was actually at his debut in Salisbury, Maryland. And yeah. So he apparently had a tattoo of a swastika, on a spot that wasn't visible.
Right, yeah. He was not a good man.
No, I imagine he wasn't knocking on heaven's door when he passed. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he had a swastika tattooed like on his leg somewhere, and and it was one of those things where it's like, oh, we can never have that leg visible.
You can't. No. Now the one good thing about him was in the old UWF when he was the Viking and he called Herb Abrams a Smurf. That was probably one of the best.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think on that note, we've rambled on enough.
I think we have, Smurf.
I may resemble that remark, but
I think you do.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for listening, for chiming in. David, thanks for commenting.
David Betway.
And everybody, we appreciate you. Make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe, blindly follow what the social media tells you to do. That's always good advice. Yeah.
Always.
And everybody have a great week. Oh, I almost forgot because I was about to do my homage to Ian Riccaboni. We have Death Before Dishonor.
Oh, yeah, we do. We do.
Do we even know the card? I know.
No. I know because they advertised on Collision. It's Mark Briscoe against Roddy Strong.
Right, yeah. And you know what? We'll just predict the main event right now. Who do you think comes out? I got to believe Mark Briscoe gets.
I got to believe Briscoe wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's all for us, guys. We're out of time. Have a great week and happy wrestling, everybody.